podium right next to it. It's just we'll have more
We're
space.
just starting in about a minute. We're just setting up a second podium, and people can stay together. That'd be great.
Can I get a mic check? Mic check. Can I get a mic check? Mic check. Can I get a mic check? Mic check. So today, we here for justice. We here for justice. Today, we here to get justice for our brother Eric. We here to get justice for our brother Eric. So we're gonna do some chants. To make sure that his energy and our energy are felt here. So when I say no justice, you say no peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, and that. Can I get a mic check? Mic check. Can I get a mic check? Mic check. Can I get a mic check? Mic check. Today, we here to fight back. So when they say get back, we say fight back. They say get back. We say fight back. Get back. Fight back. Get back. Fight back. Get back. Fight back. Get back. Fight back. And they say get back. We say fight back. They say get back.
Awesome.
We say fight back. They say get back. 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 We say fight back. Get back. Get back. Get back. Get back. Make some noise for yourself, beautiful people. Thank you.
Let's just put these next to each other then, shall we? Because this is kind of...
Yes, keep them
This should go up higher.
Actually, you know what? Yeah.
Whose mic this is as well?
That's you? Oh, you know what? That one might be my bad. Hold on.
This whole thing up higher.
Well, don't put too high.
Let's do it. Hold on. This one, if you
I don't know how tall these people are.
Yeah,
follow the cable.
That's much too
Let's
loud.
get started.
Give us 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, but now you're hosing whoever's here.
Let's all work together.
That's what's right. Let's put them next to... No, say let's put them next to each other. Like a...
One is mine. I don't know whose it is.
What's this?
Out of the older one.
What's this?
I say, hey, oh, get the cops, got to go, 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 hey.
We got some Bose headphones here that are going to be toast. We needed this here a lot earlier. Oh,
Check! Mic check! We're gonna get started now!
Connor, and where's Susanna?
Good afternoon, family and friends! Okay. Good afternoon, family and friends. My name is Casey Foster. I'm with Make the Road New York and Communities for Police Reform. We are here today because Gwen Carr and her family, like countless other mothers and families before them, and dishearteningly after them, are waiting for justice from a city intent on protecting police officers that abuse, brutalize, and murder our loved ones instead of protecting the civil and human rights of black and brown New Yorkers. 4 years ago, Eric Garner broke up a fight in Staten Island. Shortly after, NYPD officers approached and began to harass him. Within minutes, several NYPD officers killed an unarmed Eric Garner using force, choking him and refusing to intervene while he pleaded for his life, saying, "I can't breathe," 11 times. At least 2 officers lied on official reports to cover up the incident and other misconduct surrounding the killing of Eric Garner, and yet none of the officers responsible have been held accountable by the de Blasio administration 4 years later. We watched, and the whole world watched, while they choked Eric's last breaths out of his body. For 4 years, the NYPD and mayor have done nothing to hold the officers involved responsible or accountable. They remain on the force getting pay raises, and many of them remain in our streets policing our communities. For 4 years, this family and community has continued to organize and pressure this administration and NYPD for transparency and justice. And what happened yesterday with the release of a vague letter to the Department of Justice was not an inclination the mayor and NYPD are intent on seeking justice, only that they are going to continue to stand behind lies used to delay internal disciplinary action for 4 years. It is time for the de Blasio administration to immediately, today, start the disciplinary process to terminate all of the officers who used excessive force against Eric Garner, failed to intervene as he pleaded for his life, and lied on official police reports to cover up the use of force, and engaged in other misconduct related to the killing. Not wait until this September as they outlined in their letter. There is no reason to create new baseless timelines when the Department of Justice said in clear terms there is no request for the NYPD to abstain from disciplinary action. For a mayor who has promised transparency and accountability to use the same lies and excuses used to delay disciplinary action against the officers who killed Marley Graham, it is clear in 2018, black and brown communities in New York still cannot expect justice from an administration that allows the NYPD to police itself. And with that, we're going to introduce Gwen Carr, the mother of Eric Garner.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm not really at my best, but I thank you all for standing with me. I thank you all for coming and standing in solidarity with me. And I just hope you continue until we get justice to stand with me. Today, 4 years ago, on this very day, almost at this very time, my son was murdered by NYPD. Oh my goodness. Right before he was killed, he was breaking up a fight. Just as he was saying, he broke up a fight, but he was targeted. The chokehold that's been banded for 20 years, Pandaleo put my son in a chokehold that killed him, even though he said, "I can't breathe." 11 times he said, "I can't breathe." But the disconcerted officers, they still wanted to take his life. As he laid helpless on the sweltering ground as they are today, they pounced on him and they would not let him up. His last breath was taken on the ground over on Bay Street. That picture I cannot get out of my head. It's been 4 years and my family has not seen any responsibility taken by de Blasio administration for the police's misconduct. All those officers that day, they need to stand accountable for what they did to my son. They killed him. He was unarmed. He had just broke up a fight. We have so many men that's out here that's armed, that's killing people, who has killed people, and they take them alive.
That's right.
But my son was doing nothing but trying to help the community, and they took his life. This has to stop. In the black and brown community, they have to treat us with dignity as they do in other communities. And until this happens, we're not going to stop.
Right?
And with that letter that came yesterday was just a smoke screen.
Yes.
We don't believe the hype, because a letter went out to the de Blasio administration with Chief O'Neill in April saying that the DOJ told them to move on with the case if they desired to. So why would they wait to the day before the anniversary to send this letter out? Does it seem, something seems wrong here, right?
Yes.
So that's why I am here today, and I'm just outraged because Pandaleo and all those other officers are still on the force. They're still collecting tens of thousands of dollars in overtime and in increases. How do you do that on administrative duty? I talked to de Blasio, and the first time it happened, he said it would never happen again. The very next year, it happened with an increase. So what is that? What message is that sending? It's sending, if you kill somebody, you're going to get a raise for it. You're going to get an increase. No, we cannot let that happen. And all of my elected officials, all of you who I voted for, I'm asking you to stand with me on this. I'm asking you to be my backbone. And when they come out with things like this, we have to combat it. We can't take this land down. They can't think that we're stupid and we don't know any better, because we do. And we are going to fight this. And de Blasio, why September? Why September when you could have moved in April, in May, in June, and now it's July? Let's move today. Let's move today.
We need action.
We have to get action on this case. 4 years. Cases has come and gone since my son's death. And the officers, we need their names. But you know what, de Blasio? If you don't want to give us our name, give us their names, I'll get the names. Because we want to do roll call on them. And we want to tell you we don't have to tell you because you know. But we want you to fire those officers who was involved with my son's death that day. The ones who lied on the official report. It's supposed to be zero tolerance with lying on official report. What's with that? They're still working, getting tons of overtime. Nobody is making them stand accountable for it. But you know, this has got to stop. And today we are here saying that we're not taking it anymore. Not anymore. So, as I said before, I have lines I can't be from, because I'm just all over the place today. And but again, I'm just out here. I'm out here for justice. Not only justice for my son, I'm out here for justice for all the mothers who has lost. I'm out here trying to save the unborn. We cannot let them kill us like this. They don't go in other neighborhoods and just kill the people there. That wouldn't even be stood for. So we're not going to stand for it either. We are American citizens, and we are going to take our streets back. Thank you so much.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
Thank you. I want to reiterate 4 points that Ms. Carr brought up in her speech now. And these are the demands Ms. Carr, the family and community has. 1, immediately release the names of all officers who engaged in misconduct related to the murder of Eric Garner. 2, immediately move forward with discipline proceedings against all of them, not wait until September. 3, commit to letting the public know the outcomes of all discipline proceedings related to Eric's murder and the surrounding attempted cover-up. And 4, commit to not allowing Pantaleo or the other officers involved to resign or leave with good guy letters, their guns, or benefits that aren't mandated by law. And with that, I want to introduce Yul Song Lim, the co-director of Justice Committee, one of the main organizations supporting and organizing Eric's Family for Justice over the last 4 years.
Thank you all for being out here today. Thank all of the organizations, all of the New Yorkers who have stood by the Garner family for the last 4 years. Yesterday, right after the news of the NYPD's letter to the DOJ broke, the Justice Committee was in a meeting with families who've lost loved ones to police over the last 2.5 decades. And we took that letter and we read it together. Gwen was there, Mrs. Baugh was there, the mother of Anthony Baez, who lost her son in '94 to an NYPD chokehold, was on by phone. We read the letter out loud, and I'll tell you what the families said. I'm not going to use all of their words because it might be a little inappropriate, but I am going to tell you the sister of Delron Small said this is games. The mother of Sean Bell hung her head in rage and sadness. The mother of Mohammed Ba said it's happening again, and the aunt of Kai Gurley said, I am not surprised. And everyone at that table agreed. We are not surprised. The reason we're not surprised is 364 days after Daniel Pantaleo and a whole host of other officers took Garner's life using an NYPD banned chokehold and excessive force, what we have is a political sham. We have no accountability. We have no justice. We have officers being paid out of taxpayers' pockets. Again and again, this is happening. The NYPD and the de Blasio administration used this excuse, used the DOJ as an excuse with the Eric Garner case, with the Marley Graham case, and we sat in a meeting with the DOJ and they said it was a lie. So we know that this has been happening again, and what we want to say today is no more political games, no more shams in an attempt to diffuse our rage, because our rage is not going away. Ms. Carr and her family her rage is not going away, and we're going to be here until all of these officers are off the force. No guns, no benefits, no good guy letters. We want full transparency and full accountability.
Thank you, Yuson. Now I would like to introduce City Council Speaker Corey Johnson and New York City Controller Scott Stringer.
Good afternoon. 4 years ago, many of us here today had not heard of a man named Eric Garner. Now he is known all over the world. And his death sparked a movement that was long overdue, and that is based on the simple notion that Black Lives Matter. We stand here today to honor a man we lost on July 17th, 2014, and to remind the world, which is still watching this case, that Black lives do indeed matter. Sometimes you watch the news, you read the paper, and it doesn't feel like people are listening or people care. It's easy to feel discouraged or feel angry. But then I think about Gwen Carr, and I think about how this woman, this mother, lost her son 4 years ago in a horrific, very public way. Gwen did not ask for this fight, but she didn't shrink from it either. She has gone on to lead a movement that has inspired people all over the world and has changed the way we talk about justice. She fought for her son and for other mothers, sons, and daughters. She went from a subway train operator to an activist without hesitation. Justice has not been done for Eric Garner. It has taken too long.
That's right.
But Gwen is still fighting. And I know that justice will be done for Eric. Gwen will not rest. We will not rest. And the world will not rest until justice is served. Daniel Pantaleo should be fired.
That's right.
Any officer involved in this death should not be on the police force any longer.
That's right.
There needs to be, as was said, accountability and transparency immediately. And I am proud to stand with Gwen Carr as this struggle moves forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can we give it up for Erica Carr, who has been a true champion for all the children who've lost their lives? I want to be here today because I believe fundamentally that City Hall has to wake up. The mayor has to come clean, and he has to assure the public that this long-awaited investigation will actually really happen. Everybody knows that the Department of Justice changed hands in an election that we suffer from every single day.
That's right.
But the collateral damage cannot be the Garner family, just like Eric Garner. We have to stand up and demand action. We have to sometimes look at our own city and say, what are we doing to bring justice? Where is our transparency? What is our procedures? Why are we delaying? We must assure the public and assure this family that lives matter. Black lives matter, but Eric Garner matters. And that's why we are here today. I want to assure you, as controller, that we will continue to look at and hold this city accountable until an investigation is completed and the public and you are assured that justice has prevailed. Thank you.
I'd like to quickly acknowledge the family members of other New Yorkers that have been killed by NYPD officers who are here today. For generations and decades of injustice in our communities, they have been the guiding light, fighting for justice in our communities. Hawa Ba, the mother of Muhammad Ba, Eric Vassell, the father of Saheed Vassell, and Victor Dempsey, the brother of Delron Smalls. From the bottom of our heart, thank you. We would now like to introduce Minister Kirsten John Foy, the Northeast Director of the National Action Network, and Juan Cartagena, President of Latino Justice.
84 Beauty. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. When do we want it? Now. When do we want it? Now. The late, great Malcolm X once said, if I have a 6-inch knife in my back and you take out 3 inches of knife, I still have 3 inches of knife in my back. What we are seeing today and what we saw yesterday was an administration that says, I'm going to leave 3 inches of knife in the back of the Garner family until September. That is unacceptable. For a police commissioner to be more progressive than the mayor, who we elected to hold them accountable, is unheard of. They found out in April from the Justice Department officially that they could move forward. It is now July. And in July, they are saying you've got to wait till September. Well, we are not going to allow you to keep 3 inches of knife in our backs until September. Mayor de Blasio, act now. Bring us justice now. Justice delayed is justice denied, and this is at your feet. We have, for 4 years now, been following the leadership of Gwen Carr as she has stood tall, as strong as granite. So for this mayor to now turn around and say to her, 4 years is not long enough. We're going to add some more time to it, even though I now have the power to deliver justice. I'm going to deny it because it's not politically convenient. That is not acceptable.
That's right.
This day should be about commemorating the life and pursuing justice for the murder of Eric Garner. This is not a day to be applauding someone who, for 4 years now, has been denying this community justice. Eric Garner died 4 years ago. Pantaleo should have been fired 4 years ago.
That's right.
Come on.
Not only Pantaleo, but every individual that was responsible for allowing Pantaleo to snatch the life out of Eric Garner should be immediately dismissed from the police department. All of their pension benefits need to go. We have to make a statement now and forever to the NYPD and all law enforcement that our lives will always have value and we will never roll over while you kill us in front of the world and play dead. You are not only responsible, Pantaleo, for the death of Eric Garner. I'm holding you responsible for the death of Erica Garner, who died from a broken heart. Not only because her father was murdered on TV, international television, but because justice had been denied. No more. No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And I got it.
Juan Cartagena on behalf of Latino Justice. There's a reason why we're standing with Gwen Carr. There's a reason why we stand with these mothers, family members. You may remember that was the power of these mothers and their family that forced Governor Cuomo to finally issue an order regarding special prosecutors.
That's right.
You may remember that Cuomo didn't want to do it. You may remember that they forced him. Just like they had to force this mayor to finally do something. To finally start and get rid of Pantaleo and everyone else involved. Fire them now. Despídelos ahora. Despídelos ahora. Despídelos ahora. We stand with you because in ensuring accountability of the NYPD, we assure accountability of our government. And it's for the benefit of all of us in the city to have the accountability. So thank you for your leadership, and we stand with you always.
And I thank all of you who stood with me, and I would like all the elected officials at the end of this to have a conversation with me so we will know where we go from here.
Let's do it. No justice!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
Muchas gracias.
We'd now like to introduce New York City Public Advocate Letitia James.
I want to thank Gwen for having me here today. I want to thank her for her spirit. And I also want to summon the spirit of Erica, who fought so hard to keep her father's legacy alive.
That's right. Yes, she
And
did.
who's with us right now.
Yes, she is.
And today marks 4 years since Eric Garner muttered the phrase, "I cannot breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe," over and over again. And now today, collectively, none of us can breathe. Over the last 4 years, none of us could breathe because justice was denied, all of us. And so the Department of Justice assured the NYPD that they were conducting their own investigation, but we all know that when this mayor took over illegitimately the office of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the Department of Justice closed its doors. We all know that.
That's right.
And so now it's up to the NYPD to take a stand. And while nothing can right all of the wrong that has been done, we must keep pursuing justice in this case. For 4 years may have passed. 4 years may have passed, but we will never stop fighting for Eric and his family, and to make sure that no family has to endure a similar tragedy. After Eric's death, We called for body cameras. We called for a special prosecutor. And I went to court to seek the grand jury minutes.
That's right.
To demand the release of their files. And I was inspired by the tireless efforts of Erica's family to demand justice in his memory. Every prayer vigil, every rally, every protest is a reminder that we have a duty to ensure that every life should be treated with respect, and that all lives matter, but particularly Black lives matter. And so I stand here today with the family and everyone who is here today demanding justice to make sure that Eric's memory is cherished, and to promote social justice here in the city and across the state, and to demand that these police officers be brought to justice and that they be terminated from the force, and that our tax dollars are not used to continue to propagate hate and injustice. I stand with them always. Justice now, justice forever.
Thank you. We would now like to introduce Councilmember Donovan Richards, the chair of the Public Safety Committee, Councilmember Debbie Rose, Councilmember of the district where Eric was murdered, and Councilmember Inez Barron from East New York.
Hashtag 4 years too long. Enough is enough.
That's right.
4 years have passed. Yes, 4 years since we stood this very spot, grief-stricken, and asked questions. And on that day, I asked these questions. Why was Officer Pantaleo on duty on July 17th when he had 4 substantiated civilian complaint review board complaints against him? Why was a ban tactic used so reflexively, particularly against an unarmed person? And why did officers stand idly by for 7 minutes with an unresponsive person at their feet? And why were only 2 officers placed on restricted duty when there were 6 involved in this incident? 4 years ago, 4 years ago, we were promised a swift, transparent, and thorough investigation of this horrific incident. And frankly, nothing has been done. And for 4 years, we have waited for a decision by the Justice Department and New York City NYPD as to whether to pursue civil rights charges, with no conclusion, no resolution, and not even a timeline in sight. 4 years, there have been scant accountability for this grievous crime. For 4 years, they have waited for an internal investigation to commence, only to be told to wait, be patient, and let the process happen. Enough! Without justice, without accountability, without answers, how can we move forward? How can we allow justice to be denied? Enough! I am so glad that we are now here today to say we've had enough. And moving forward with disciplinary actions against Officer Pantaleo has to happen now. This is not acceptable. It has to happen now. There was a dual travesty, a dual injustice done here, because we also are here to mourn Erica. And so I say now, enough is enough. We want action now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Justice delayed is justice denied. And let me be clear. You know, DOJ and the NYPD are playing this football game right now. They're punting. Let's be clear. We need DOJ to act now, and we need the NYPD to act now. That is the bottom line. This political football game that is being played is not going to bring us resolution, the touchdown of justice. And that's what we need. So let's stop the games. Let's bring justice to this family. I also want to add that, you know, we're going to get into this conversation once again around 50A. And no officers in this incident should be shielded from the public.
That's right.
Let's be clear. If the skin color of Eric Garner was different, let me be clear again. If the skin color of Eric Garner was white, those officers would be in jail. And that's the bottom line. And we've seen too much of this. When you look at the families in back of us and in front of us, we've seen this over the years.
Yes.
I also want to add that September is too long to wait. We had 4 years. We had 4 years. We can't wait longer. Justice delayed is justice denied. I can't breathe. Let's say it. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Bring him to justice.
All right.
I can't breathe.
Good afternoon. I'm Councilmember Inez Barron, representing the East New York section of Brooklyn. It's been 4 years. It's been too long. But we have not gone away. We're going to continue to stand here. The NYPD likes to talk about changes. There have been no changes that have brought us any justice. So we're here to say that at the end of this investigation, we will see if we will in fact have justice. And that justice will only be all of those who were involved in killing Eric Garner are brought to justice and are terminated. And then we want the DOJ to step up and do their part and bring a criminal investigation. That's what we want. That's what we are demanding. Because we know without the appropriate consequences, we will continue to see the same thing again. I'm standing here today, and I'll be here until we get the justice that we deserve. And I echo the comments of my colleagues who spoke before me. Thank you.
Thank you. We love you.
We'd also like to thank and ask to stand in the front Council Members Lander, Lankman, Adams, and Williams with the other council members who spoke for a photo.
Councilmember Pett's a nice way of saying, okay. What are we looking at?
Yeah.
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
If Eric don't get it,
Shut it down!
If Erica don't get it,
Shut it down!
what do we want?
Justice!
Thank you. We'd now like to call up Councilmember Jumani Williams, Senator Benjamin, and Assemblymember Dan Court, and Assemblymember Epstein.
Yesterday, I saw the press release, and I did my best to say some positive words about we're finally here. I need to retract most of those words. I was appalled when I saw the DOJ's response saying that they already told this administration to move forward. This is not the first or second time that the DOJ has refuted what this administration has said. And said, no, it now seems that there is deliberate deception when it comes to holding accountability and transparency with the NYPD. Now, we keep talking about the Republicans and Trump. This ain't the Republicans, and this ain't Trump. These are Democrats that have gotten elected on this issue, that have asked for the power to make the changes that we all are talking about. We don't need hashtag Democrats. We don't need Democrats who believe progressivism is just a fad. We need people who are going to make the changes when they're in power. Now, I'm always one to say, and I mean this, there has been progress that hasn't happened in a while. But it is hard for us to sell that progress when it comes to accountability and transparency. You see more of it back in Giuliani days when the Voting case happened than we see now. We need accountability and transparency. Eric Garner deserves it. His family does. And what's even most important now, it used to be just the crazy lefties talking about transparency and accountability.
Everybody now, including the media, including the newspapers, have seen what the issue is. So please, step up and do the right thing. Your legacy depends on what you do right now. If you can meet with James Blake, you could have met with Marley Graham's family, you could have done this, you have to explain, I gotta go. If you could do this on the eve of 4 years,
Yes.
why couldn't you do it last year, the year before, or the year before that? That's a question you have to answer. And where are the officers who lied on those reports?
All right, thank you.
No peace. No peace.
My name is State Senator Brian Benjamin, and I've come all the way from Harlem, USA, to stand with Sister Gwen Carr, stand with the Justice Committee, and stand with everyone here who is here for justice. I remember 4 years ago, I don't think anyone can forget where they were when they saw that video. I saw it on my phone, and the first thing that came to my mind was, well, we know we're going to get them on this one.
Right.
Because we all saw it. It wasn't complicated. We all saw the video. We saw him being choked to death. It wasn't that he said, she said. It wasn't a guesswork. We saw it. So to be standing here 4 years later and we still don't have justice, that tells us that we don't matter. I don't care what hashtags we want to use. If we do not have accountability immediately every day, we are saying that if you have the facts, we still will deny you. So what happens to all of those Eric Garners where there wasn't a video, where there wasn't anybody who can stand up on any side and say this happened? This is horrific, and that is why I believe all of us are standing here in the blazing hot sun.
Correct.
To stand with Sister Carr on the 4th anniversary, because we will not let this go down. We all saw it. We know it's true. Let's act accordingly, and let's stand together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well said. No justice?
No peace.
No justice?
No peace.
No justice?
No peace.
Hi, I'm Assembly Member Dan Court from Manhattan. It's a pleasure to be here. Ms. Carr, we were here a month ago to fight for the repeal of 50A. Your courage to keep coming back and fighting for what's right, gives us the willingness to fight on. Yesterday's announcement by the NYPD does not begin to scratch the surface of what must be done. All officers involved in Eric Garner's death must immediately be disciplined and terminated. We've all seen the video. We all know there are multiple police officers involved. Every single one of their names must be identified and subject to disciplinary action. Nothing less should be accepted. Action after 4 years of obstruction by the NYPD. Action after 4 years of agony for your family. 4 years. Eric Garner's death is a tragedy. It never should have happened. Having to stand here day after day to fight for basic accountability from the city of New York as insult to injury. We must continue to place pressure on the NYPD and Mayor de Blasio and his administration to demand justice for Eric Garner.
All right.
Hi, my name is Harvey Epstein. I'm the Assembly Member in the 74th District. And I'm here because this car is here every day. We're here because we need justice in our city. We're here because the state needs to do more and the city needs to do more. The reality is that we all know that justice was not served. We know that resignations of these police officers is not enough. We need them to be prosecuted. We need them to be followed through on. We need the information so this does not happen again. This is not just about Eric Garner. This is about a city that we live in. This is about a future we believe in. This is about how we stand together and believe in economic and social justice, and how our police force ignores those values, ignores what happened, and does not stand for our community. We need changes in the NYPD, and we need it now, and we need justice today. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have one more speaker before we close. Really quickly, I know it's hot. I just want to shout out all the groups and organizations here today that have been fighting beside Eric Garner's family for the last 4 years. Picture the Homeless, the New York City Anti-Violence Project, Girls for Gender Equity, NAACP LDF, Citizen Action of New York, Arab American Association of New York, the National Action Network, New York Communities for Change, Jews for Racial and Economic Justice, Showing Up for Racial Justice, Girls for Gender Equity, Brooklyn Defender Services, Justice League New York City, Justice Committee, Latino Justice, National Domestic Workers Alliance, We Dream in Black, Make the Road New York, and Communities United for Police Reform. Black Institute is also here.
Black Institute.
Shout yourself out if you're here. Cool. And with that, we'd like to introduce Hawa Ba, the mother of Muhammad Ba, and our last speaker. And Eric Vassal. I'm sorry, Mr. Vassal, come down. Eric Vassal is the father of Saheed Vassal.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
My name is Hawa Ba. I'm the mother of Mohammed Ba. It was 2 years after the mother of Mohammed Ba, then the mother Eric Garner.
Wow. Yep.
When I saw the video of chokehold of Eric Garner, I thought it would save the future. I'm here today to stand with Gwen Carr, the mother of Eric Garner. I don't want to hear anything else before to fire all the officers who killed Eric Garner.
Right.
We need a kind of accountability for the future. We know we lost our loved one, but we don't want no other mother or parent or sister face the life I would say face. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Eric Vassal. I'm the father of Saheed Vassal, who was murdered on April 4th. Within 5 seconds, the police came on the scene and he was shot dead with 10 bullets. I am here today standing for Eric Garner. I am standing here today because I don't want no more of my black brothers to be murdered. I can remember when I saw it on the video 11 times, Eric breathed. I can't breathe. He said I can't breathe. Today we are standing because we want all those officers who was involved to be fired. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Just like to acknowledge Councilmember Danique Miller and then open up for questions.
Woo!
Hi, Ms. Carr. Good afternoon. First question, how have you been coping since the 4 years of death of your son?
I'm sorry.
How have you been coping?
Well, I've been coping.
I'm sorry, could you please stand in front of the microphones? I appreciate it. Thank you.
The way I've been coping is with support such as yourself, coming here and asking for justice and demanding justice. And we know in the long run, we expect justice.
Now, what message do you have for Officer Pantaleo right now?
A nice message? Okay.
Say whatever you want.
No. I think that you should be fired. You should not be collecting our tax dollars, our tax dollars. So I wish that the de Blasio administration will get you out of there. And the other 5 officers also.
Yes.
Fire those officers immediately, not September.
That's right.
Don't wait for my birthday.
That's right.
When is your birthday?
September.
Okay. That is.
Have other questions?
I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
Sorry, can't hear.
Are you looking to with the mayor and police commissioner, like today or
Yes.
to possibly talk about this?
I would if they let me in. I want to talk to them. Yes.
That's right.
Are you saying they're not speaking with you or not taking meetings from you?
Well, I haven't asked, but they hear me. They could invite me in. They know I'm here.
Yes.
They know we're here.
Yes.
And they know why we're here.
So prior to this letter, they didn't.
They didn't know. I heard nothing until yesterday. Yesterday, almost in the afternoon, is when I first heard about the letter. And I didn't even know what was in the letter. No, I didn't get a call from them, but my daughter told me she got a call from their office. She did tell me that, but I wasn't, where my daughter was.
Other questions?
And they're not going to tell you it exists. Of course not. I investigate. I don't just come here and rah, rah, rah.
I think we're not clear on how the Department of Justice communicated with the NYPD that they can move forward, but we are clear the Department of Justice has never stopped or interfered with the NYPD moving an internal disciplinary action forward, and New York has moved forward internal disciplinary actions without the extent blessing of the Department of Justice in the past, as have departments all across the country. And so this idea that they were held or handcuffed from moving any internal disciplinary action forward is false and a lie that they continue to stand behind.
That's right. Continue.
What message does it send to you that it's taken this 4 years and we haven't even so much inspired the officers to do about the solve? What message does it send to you that it's taken this long to come to this?
This is political procrastination. Yes.
Any other questions? Thank you. We'll wrap now.
What do we want? Justice!